Yes, family, blessed love. Ryan battle. Must be war time. Calling one and calling all. Come on in, as they say. Definitely live here on the YouTube, and we'll be going live on the Facebook in a moment. Let's hold in the meds. Giving thanks to the earth light of Leonard, Percival, Howell. Key figure in the realms of Rastafari. Should check the mirror before I came. King Selassie, yeah. Okay, I think we are live on the Facebook now. Down to the nabbing sound. So just come on in if you're out there. We won't be long, but definitely going to be strong. That's it. Just showing the people on the Facebook too. Don't even know how many of them are with me. Oh, there it is. Yeah, give thanks to the Earthday of Leonard P. Howell. not even sure if they can hear the Nyabingi on the Facebook, because the device I'm using for the Facebook is the same device I'm using for the Nyabingi, and it's not sharing the sound as such internally. But give thanks still. Well, as I said, it's just a moment, celebration moment. Just spending a moment with the family. For those who have the time, See, when you're alive, it's a different energy. But we're always live, I remember we used to say that regularly. We're always live, because we're never dead. Yes, give thanks again. Bobo Zion, always live. Give thanks. Yeah, we always live, but we definitely, we're not even going to call the other stuff. We're ever live. Yeah, give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life, family. And, just within the whole structure of the day. So many things that we're doing, preparation, we're preparing for the summer solstice. As you know, the summer solstice experience begins tomorrow officially. So for sure, there's so many things on the plate. In fact, let me just show you what's going on here. I just decided to, if you want to say, take a moment. And I said, let me just go and speak to the family, both on the YouTube and on the Facebook. And as I said, today is the Earthday of the Honorable Leonard P. Howell. So it's a moment to give thanks and a moment to celebrate such a giant amongst us. What I was sharing with the family also, this is an invitation I received yesterday. I'm sure you could see it. And of course, this is from the Ethiopian Orthodox Church here in Antigua. And the gracious honor of your presence is kindly requested. This is an invitation to me to join us and to witness the historic event of the sacred consecration of Saint Mary of Zion, Ethiopian Orthodox Toledo Church, Antigua, and that will be on the 27th day of June, 2021, 9 a.m. So that is next Sunday, and myself and the family for sure, we will be there. That is without a doubt. I must give honor to the family there at the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. They have always reached out to I and I personally in all aspects, and give thanks for the Abba there as well, and the love he has come right here and reasoned with me. So I'm very thankful as well for such. So for sure, next Sunday, myself, the young prince and the young princess, we will definitely be in attendance at the Ethiopian Orthodox Church as they consecrate officially. The church has been there for a moment, but as they officially consecrate the the Saint Mary of Zion Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. Give thanks. So yes, family, as I said, this is the day, of course, that Farai has made, and we are rejoicing and definitely glad in it. And as I said, this is the Earthday celebration of one Leonard P. Howell, who was officially born, is it 1898, if I'm not mistaken, and this is the day being the 16th day of June, 1898. And many ones who are Rastafari, they would have heard of Leonard P. Howell and have heard of him being the first Rastafari. He's also referred to as the Gong. He is the individual that established the pinnacle. But yet still there's not a lot that has been said about him, really. That is the truth. In fact, he was with us up until 1980, if I'm not mistaken, the 25th of February 1980. And many ones remember that's like a year before Bob Marley then, for example, died. And he died, that's in 1980. So interestingly, even in the prime of Rastafari, the 70s and the 60s, it's surprisingly Leonard P. Howell at that time, you don't get the impression that he was an outstanding figure at that time. In fact, if you did not know the history properly, you would believe that maybe Leonard P. Howell done pass out somewhere in the 40s, but he was with us up until 1980. From my understanding, not an individual that really ever carried the dreadlocks, but most of the pictures you see of him is those black and white pictures from the early days, from the 1920s. Those pictures you see with him was even the time when he was rolling with the Universal Negro Improvement Association of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the Honorable Prophet. We're talking about the 1920s, just like they deported Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I think eventually Leonard P. Howell also was sent back even to the Caribbean. And as I said, he is one of the forerunners as it relates to the knowledge and the concept of the divinity of Haile Selassie, the first Rastafari, even amongst us. Now, it's a technical thing, and, I know we speak of it very romantically. To some degree, we even get religious, even with Leonard P. Howell, too, and me personally, for me to say that he is not necessarily the first Rastafari, it's not said in no form of disrespect at all. As I said, we are honoring him. He's a person worthy to be honored. But as a scholar, when you get into the history of things, I mean, even some of our great scholars that are with us right now, that good brother that I intend to have on my program, The Tiger's Nest, soon, he promised to come, brother Michael, the name is missing me there, but anyway, he definitely, Michael Barnett, he wrote a book even on Leonard P. Howell. He is a professor as well, and even an individual like him, and an individual like Barry Chavez, the same Rex Nettleford, and anyone that's a historian would tell you that Leonard Howell rose up in a time where there were several other individuals like himself that maybe did not rise to prominence. Definitely, maybe they didn't get the spotlight like him, but you have Hubert, you have Hines, and you have Dunkley. These four, and of course Howell, these four individuals were considered to be the four pillars. Some early Rastas would call them Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but they were like the first four pillars as such, as it relates to the concept of Rastafari in such a time, in the 1930s, 32, 33, coming thereabout. But then now these very same professors and historians that are Rastafari would have told you now, for example, that good brother that we did a program with, our program on, I should say, about 2 months ago. But anyway, he was at the University of the West Indies, and he was speaking about the individual that he met, an elder man, who was showing him that when he was either 6, 7 or somewhere thereabouts, he remembered them hailing the Ethiopian monarch as God. And he said, no, but that can't be, because the Ethiopian monarch, Haile Selassie, was crowned in 1930. And the time frame that this elder man is giving me is before 1930. How could that be? Now, keep in mind, Haile Selassie was crowned Negus Tafari in 1928. And interestingly, that is the same year that Marcus Garvey gave that wonderful prophecy about looking to Ethiopia, where a king shall be crowned, where prince shall be crowned king. Interesting, very spot on point prophecy there. Look to Ethiopia, where prince shall be crowned king. And how that is so interesting and how it's so spot on is because historically in the annals of Ethiopia, the last prince to ever be crowned king is Haile Selassie. That's really the truth. And when I say king, I'm talking about Negus, not even emperor now. As I said, on the 7th of October 1928, Negus Tafari became Rastafari became Negus Tafari, or if you prefer, Rastafari became Negus Tafari. But I'm saying on the 27th day of March, that same year, 28, that is when Marcus Messiah Garvey said in Elwes Park that famous quote, to look to the east, to Ethiopia, where a prince shall be crowned king. And what I'm showing to the audience is that princes were crowned king in Ethiopia. That's why the different provinces had their king. You had the king of Wolo, and the king of Gojam, and the king of this and the king of that. But it was a very unique thing happening in Addis Ababa. Remember, Addis Ababa now is where you had the king of the whole country. But at that time, it wasn't a king. It was an empress. Empress Zaditu was the empress of Ethiopia at the time. So in other words, Addis Ababa didn't necessarily need a king. It was a very mystic thing if you read the emperor's autobiography. In fact, they actually somewhat forced him to become king, because he said, listen, he don't want to take the title of king. That's what the emperor said. Read his autobiography. As Rastafari, he did not want the title of king. Somehow it would have interfered with the balance of the understanding of the government, but it was just history, and if you study that history good, do you know his own, not his opponents, those of his own house, I think they actually broke down the palace fence. Someone out there could tell me and clarify the history. I think they actually broke down the palace fence with a tank and besiege Rastafari and tell him, hey, we want you to be our king. And he said, all right, if you insist, something like of the sort. And I found it very interesting, it reminds me of the fact that he was denying that. He didn't want the kingship. The same man that became emperor. He said, listen, and it's not because he didn't know his destiny. He explained clearly, we have an empress in Addis Ababa. So a king in Addis Ababa as well is almost like a conflict of interest. But the legal minds, the luminaries say, well, we see what you're saying, Tafari, but no, we want you to be our king. To the point when they got rough and tough about it and forced it. And the king said, all right, I'll take it, no problem. And then he had a big celebration. He planned it, just like how he planned the coronation for 1930. The one for 1928 was outstanding as well. And the emperor was joyous when he became Negus Tafari. But what I'm saying now, what it reminds me of is in the Bible, they said that they wanted to crown Jesus Christ king. And they said that he ran away and ducked them out. Like he said, yeah, you're going to crown me king. And he just disappeared. Where did he go? Like he was running from it. And I just, found that very parallel to how the emperor handled that situation. So really, what was the point of all that anyway? What were we really talking about? Leonard P. Howell, So yeah, anyway, Rastafari, became Emperor Marcus Garvey, right? So 1928 was the year Marcus Messiah Garvey, gave forth that prophecy of the prince that shall be crowned king in Ethiopia. So the point I was making now is that even in Jamaica is a mystic little place. within, that's why some people will argue that Rastafari came out of Kumina and even what they call Pocomania and all of that. Remember what Ras Bonagees was saying in the video, that for those of you who follow us on YouTube, if you don't follow us on YouTube, Facebook people, you gotta follow us on YouTube definitely. I'm coming there, YouTube people. Our platform is Priest Isaac YouTube channel, definitely. A whole heap of information and knowledge and inspiration that you could get. And all of his videos are also transferred to this this Facebook platform, pardon me. So you could definitely go on our personal page and check them out. So anyway, we did a video with Ras Bonagees, and remember he was saying that when he meet King Emmanuel, he had his head wrap up like that. The elders would tell you that even outside of what you call it, outside of the four main elders, Howell, Hines, Hibbert, Dunkley, these are the four outstanding elders that history would say started Rastafari, and of course Leonard P. Howell would get a push out front, and although and the pinnacle that he established was Granino, but all these other brothers had their own little camp and gathering. Some were more biblical than the other, etc., etc. So that's really how it came down. But again, prior to them, ones were already, may not be in any big amount, and in fact, even when in the 30s and the 40s, it wasn't in any big amount, but there was a small pocket or pockets of people, especially coming out of the Kumina. Remember, that has an African link, and the same Poco business, there's some African touch to it. And there were those within that already praising the African king, Negus Tafari. That's very, very serious, and that's very interesting too. And this is from the Jamaican elders. I myself have been to Jamaica, and this is not from a Rasta now. They're elder people that will tell you that Brother Howell is not the first Rasta man. Not that is nothing they're saying against him. Okay, let me show you. Anywhere you live, right? For example, here in Antigua, since I'm Rastafari, I've been hearing who is the first Rasta, and then this man saying who's the first Rasta, and this man saying who's the first Rasta. Now, it's not really anything like it's necessary that, it's nothing to fight over. In fact, to me, that's good that you know this history. Some people say, oh, that doesn't matter. Let's move on to something else. It does matter. It's history. You know what matters? We should be able to talk about this without ego, without, well, no, I want my man to be the first Rasta. Oh, no. That's where it goes sour. But in the right perspective, we want the history to go down properly. So it's always a contention even around here, but they have elders here, elders that are not Rasta, that will tell you, who said them are the first Rasta, eh? He fooly. Me remember when Free Mommy used to carry a shop. You know who the first Rasta? They used to have a man in the mountains. Too much people don't know about he. And then they will go into the history. And you see, that is where you get the rich knowledge from, a lot of the elders. The same thing in Jamaica. Those of you who live in Jamaica that have done the investigation and get around, you would hear some old elders talk like that, and tell and show you how the history really goes. You understand? So again, these four elders were on the forefront, but they were ones already hailing Rastafari. Even when they say the locks came in the 40s and 50s, that man that been moving with the matted hair for a while, even before that. You see me? Same thing now going down again with hailing the king. Actually hailing the king. So even before the king get crowned emperor, that's the point I'm making here. Even before the king get crowned emperor, according to Barrett and some of these other historians, there were pockets of people that were practicing Kumina and Poco that were already hailing Negus Tafari. So we cannot keep that out of the history. That, to me, that's very, very important. you know, and whose instructions were they moving off of? Marcus Garvey. You understand? In fact, you know, in my book, I just always put Marcus Messiah Garvey as the first Rastaman. Why? Because, okay, I mean, if it's not, if it's, I want to argue that Marcus Garvey don't follow Rasta rules. What is Rasta rules? He don't have locks. That's Rasta rules. But the same Leonard P. Howell we're talking about, I mean, it's the same thing. But Marcus Messiah Garvey obviously represents the John the Baptist. And I mean, if John the Baptist is not a Rasta man, I mean, that's a big problem there, you know. So it's important, I think, that we recognize and give thanks for even days like this, because even the establishment of the pinnacle, that was nothing simple. That is not something that we harp about too often either. But these things, even for our own offsprings and our children that will come, you know, a lot of this information, yes, they're books, Rasta and Resistance, and so that talk about Brother Pinnacle or the Pinnacle, etc., etc. But at the same time, we also need more of us, just like Michael Barrett and so, writing that history. So we have to even commend him, definitely writing the history and showing a lot of love to even spread, you know, such knowledge and information as it relates to Brother Leonard P. Howell. So give thanks for the Earthday of Leonard P. Howell even at this time. Give thanks for, you know, the celebration of life. As I said, the pinnacle was such an industrial arena that was established. You know, the one of the cash crops, as you know, was marijuana. Even from that time, you know, there was a lot of self-industrial movements taking place in the pinnacle, almost like that place we just celebrated the other day, 100 years. What's the name of the place there? Princess, what are we talking about there? Tulsa, right? Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm sure you all know of the 100-year anniversary of the burning down of not Tulsa really, but what's his name? Greenwood in Tulsa, in Oklahoma. This is a thriving city for those who may not know, but I'm sure you all know. A black city within the 1917, 18s, 1918, 1919, 1920. You know, 1921 it was bombed. You know, we're talking about a city that had its own restaurants, its own barber shops, its own saloons, its own hotel, its own movie theaters. All of these things were in that little square. I'm talking about black people, you know, pooling their resources together, doing exactly what Haile Selassie says, organizing and centralizing and really, you know, growing an empire within an empire. And of course, you know, the wicked empire of white supremacy didn't like that at all. So they came and dropped a bomb on the city. The first time that a bomb was ever dropped on U.S. soil wasn't Pearl Harbor. In fact, the bomb was dropped by the U.S. government on a thriving city of black people. You understand? That is why you have to look at it. That's why when these people in Tulsa or Greenwood, Tulsa, ask for reparation, you cannot sidestep them, because now what they did when they dropped that bomb and the mob came in backed by the police and murdered hundreds of black people, those that survived, what you did, you actually cut off their generational wealth. So we as a people, we don't even think about generational wealth. So we don't even see the real crime that was done there, because people that exist today, grandchildren, you know, and even children that were or people that were children at the time. Remember the lady that testified before the Senate? She's 107. She was 7 years old when they attacked Tulsa. Her parents had a booming business. She's saying that from that time she has lived in poverty up until that time, 107. She's still alive. Her brother is 100 years old. He was a baby when they lit the curtains alight in their house, and their mother had to run for her life. And he didn't get to see, you know, the wealth that they were living in. Keep in mind, you know, the young daughter at 7, she could remember life from 0 to 7. and she can remember definitely from 7 to 107. And she knew that if they did not destroy Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, she would have inherited the wealth that was coming to her. She was supposed to go to university just like everybody else, so she could get her papers and her degrees and become whatever it is you become after you go through the pillars of Doric and Corinth. And then now, but destroying that, you destroyed the generational wealth. Because remember, we hardly think of generational wealth. We inherit generational poverty. Or we're wealthy for a month, have a change for a couple of days, and we live in large, we go and party it off. So when we see them destroy Greenwood, somehow we're not really penetrating or meditating really the vibes that is taking place here as it relates to exactly what is going on when they destroyed the city. Yes, they killed 300, but it was more than that. They killed generations of wealth, and they knew exactly what they were doing. And it wasn't just that one city. In 1919, they had a whole series of riots and massacres in several cities. Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, different places in the United States, in Chicago, different places. It was known as the Red Summer, the Red Summer. And in almost every case, the reason why the riot and the massacre began is because somebody reported that a black boy whistled or touched some white girl. In almost every case, that's how the riot began, and a mob came in and destroyed a thriving city. Several thriving cities were destroyed in the U.S. in between 1919 and 1921. It's not just Tulsa, Oklahoma, but the reason why you hear so much about that, of course it's a massacre, and of course we should hear about it, but that's how the historians work. They isolate something and say, okay, give them that to feed on. Let them feed on that. Don't tell them the rest. Just give them that and keep them quiet. Yeah, but trust me, Tulsa is just one of many. And believe me, I'm saying that to come back to Pinnacle. It's Leonard P. Howell we talking about, eh? Pinnacle. So Pinnacle now was a thriving state within a state, just like them other places that we may mention. May not be on the same standard, obviously, but you have to understand the environment that we were in. Yes, brother, Rosewood too. Rosewood, Florida. That's another place that was destroyed. Who is that? Yes, Dreadway. Rosewood is another place. I just glanced across and saw it on the chat. Rosewood is another place that was destroyed, several places. So I'm just saying the same thing with Pinnacle. Pinnacle was a place that was self-sufficient. Of course, even these same other towns, sometimes you would have to leave the town to get things and come back. People that lived in Tulsa or Greenwood, some people worked outside too, but basically or predominantly they were independent. And we created something like that in the aspect of Pinnacle. And that has been, mirrored within Rastafari also in other places, maybe not to the same standard of a Pinnacle, or even as a Bobo Shanty Hill, where you're self-sufficient, you're self-employed. In the case of Pinnacle now, you're talking about cultivation of crop and food that you could carry and sell to the market. That's when you're really gone on another level, you understand. But what was the end of that? The government coming in, breaking it up. Leonard P. Howell ending up in mental institution. He crazy. What's so crazy about him? He wanted the Negroes to be self-sufficient. He wanted the Negroes to have generation wealth. He don't want to raise his little daughter to get a job. What's wrong with him? He belongs in the nut house. Yeah, that's got to be what it is. And that is exactly what, befell the good brother after a while. And you know how it is. It came down real terrible, So let me just bless up the people that are here, man. Many ones coming in here. Give thanks for Civilization Nation 7. What's this? We have Crystal Crystal A. Give thanks to all the love. We have Dreadway, we got TYZ, that's all the ones on YouTube. Brand Battle, you're still in the house as well. And definitely over here, we got Nat Turner. Give thanks to the man every time. Fire, Empress Marija also in the house. So yeah, but we really just giving thanks for brother Leonard P. Howell, Rastafari. We ain't gonna stay too long. The burning of Kumasi. This is we're talking Kumasi now. Where are we? We're talking Ghana now, and they in Kumasi they have a famous sword as well. You know, similar. That's where they got the story of the fella there in England, the Knights of the Round Table fella there. What's his name, man? King Arthur, and the sword Excalibur, and this sword was stuck in the earth, and they said that whoever could take out the sword would have been the chosen one. You know, the chosen one of the British crown and empire. Nobody could pull it out. And young little scrawny King Arthur, you know, you ever watch the movie Sword in the Stone? It's a cartoon. He came and he just touched it and he pulled it out. And Merlin said, "Great Scots, Archimedes, we have found the king." Yeah, I just kind of added that, you know. But and that's where they got it from, the sword in Kumasi. You know, that's from the that's these. Let me see. I gotta get my facts good. That's the Ashanti people, and of the golden stool fame. Well, actually, the sword now was actually placed in the ground, not necessarily to be removed, but to show a sign of you know, the power of the Ashanti people. In fact, I think a hospital is built not too far from it, and it's also there, also in its own blessings. Yes, civil nation, 7 Ashanti people, definitely give thanks. So we glorify Baba every time. Fire in the house once again. Anibal Rastril, give thanks. Big K, give thanks, and all the ones that are stepping in. Give thanks for who is this current Neptune. Blessed love to each and every one. So give thanks, you know, as I said, I'm just preparing for the summer solstice experience. We're definitely starting tomorrow. We have 3 magnificent days that we are already ready for that. Live streaming, virtual edition, for sure. You could visit our Facebook page, which is Rastafari Experience Antigua. So you could see the flyer for those of you who have not checked it yet, especially those of you on Facebook. I'm almost positive that the YouTube family know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those of you on Facebook who may not have scoped it, for sure, you could check our Facebook page, our company's Facebook page, one of the companies, that is Rastafari Experience Antigua, and we'll definitely give you more information as it relates to the summer solstice experience. For sure, we're going to be having 2 marvelous hikes. That will be Friday morning. That will be a 6 o'clock hike. Well, at least the cameras will be on at 6. So all of you who will be joining us on the virtual hike at 6, yeah, you'll be up wherever you are in the world. It may not be 6, it may be 10, it may be 2, whatever it is. But at 6 Eastern Caribbean time, Eastern Standard Time, when the sun is coming up, click, your virtual streaming will begin, and you will see us hiking up amongst the megaliths. You'll be able to see the sun coming up over the horizon. Of course, you're going to get a nice lecture presentation from myself. The Rastafari brethren will be there with us. And of course, Sunday, as I already promised, we have the griot, Paddy Simon. Oh, this is going to be marvelous. I mean, he's an individual that can really spit the knowledge as it relates to the history of this little rock and the history of the Caribbean. He can carry us far back to, he can tell you everybody going back maybe 7 generations within his family. He's not a joke. He's a real griot and an archive amongst us. But as I promised, though, from the footage of Sunday, I'm going to definitely bring something to the people who would not be on that hike with us so they can get some vibes. But you can be with us because we're doing it virtually. In fact, tomorrow now is when we're going to have the cannabis lecture and tour. We will be visiting the Rastafari camps, and we will be going through the acres of ganja. We'll be showing you the industry, the preparation of certain products. We'll be having the live chalice talk in the Nyabingi house. It's going to be wonderful, and that's tomorrow. That begins approximately at 2 o'clock. So those of you who are on board, don't worry, I'll be sending your itinerary. In fact, I'm going to be posting up the itinerary all over as well for those who will, and those who will not be there. You'll still see exactly the itinerary. And as I said, that begins tomorrow. That is going to be wonderful. The hike on Friday and the hike on Sunday for sure. So remember, we're definitely doing this virtually. As we said, we are not encouraging individuals to come to Antigua right now, because of what's going on, Mr. Corona and Mrs. COVID. But at the same time, we are hoping by the next solstice, the gates will be fully open, at least from our perspective, because we don't want to bring none of our loved ones here to go through no foolishness and no long quarantine, and they changed the protocol today and they said something else yesterday, and take it from your brother. So this is why we are pushing the virtual. So you could take up the opportunity, man. The virtual, you're not there, but it's just as good. And remember, everything you see us do with Greencastle Hill, it's about preserving Greencastle Hill as well, It's about the preservation of Greencastle Hill. This is a legal battle that we're in. There are many things, I should say, as it relates to this hill that I do not speak about. I wouldn't even think about coming on no kind of platform to talk about. But it's a legal battle too. Legal, like with attorneys, you know what I'm saying? So it's a very serious mission, and it can be unsafe too. Well, if you want it to be. But true man won't move with the powers of the Most High. We don't even talk like that. But I'm just giving you a quick injection of the reality. It's not a walk in the park. It's not a Sunday school thing. So when you see us on the industrial level and we're promoting it, and we have the right to promote it too, on the level that we're doing. It took years to do that. Nobody can come and stop us and say, hey, you can't do that. Years. We have that in writing. It took years to reach that far, to the point that we have a say, in what is taken. That's why it has to get legal too. So this is a very serious battle, more than you know. Yeah, the stones are pretty and they align with the stars and the sun and moon, and that's the next level of the battle. Just to be able to hold that down is something else too. So we come with the full package, and give thanks to those who appreciate that enough to even purchase the tickets. Remember, the ticket is only $100, and I have to say only 100. Remember, it's 3 days, 3 exciting days, just vibes each day. You're gonna spend about 2.5 hours with us. And it's not just me. Remember, there's so many different people. Brother Isaiah will be there with us tomorrow. He was the one that took you around the ganja field the last time. Brother Richie will be there with the reasoning. Brother Ras Ison will be there for the chalice talk. That's tomorrow alone. So man, don't miss it, man. Make sure you partake and support. As I said, not just I. Greencastle Hill is a serious project. This is not a Priest Isaac project. This is a company that I have, that I work along with others by the name of Rastafari Experience Antigua. And if you are serious about preservation of ecological sites and all of these kind of different things, and not just preserving the ecological site, we are actively doing research. The kind of research that I do on Greencastle Hill, right? You don't even know when you see me, when I have to go up there and make sure I'm up there before the sunrise at a certain time so I can judge the alignment today. Then you come back the next day, see how much degrees it moved. You think, yeah, that's why we study these things, this reality. The works we do on Greencastle Hill should actually be funded. When you see people go to Egypt and be digging up monuments and go to Africa and be digging up bones, these are funded missions. The person that is funding it might tell them, listen, Joe, I've been funding you for 3 years and you haven't found a tooth. This is the last month. You better find something. Do you know when what's his name found Tutankhamun? Howard Carter, Lord Carnarvon, that's the individual that was sponsoring his trip. He threatened to cut off funding because he's been funding him for so long, and up to now he don't find nothing. And then all of a sudden he find the greatest discovery ever as it relates to the Egyptian kings or any Egyptian artifacts being the finding of Tutankhamun. So, just giving you a moment of clear understanding of what is happening here. So I myself, I have to be fortified, even on the scientific level. Yes, what we know already is good, but this is why, as I told you before, we're even doing several courses we'll be doing to, if you want to say, step up the credibility as such. Yeah, straight up. So that now all of that is important because we have to defend this hill on that level. Nobody else can even understand what's really taking place up there. That's number one. Then we still have to defend it on the legal level because it's being destroyed, although the destruction has halted to some degree. I mean, the dynamiting, I should say, but it still hasn't stopped. Again, maybe too lengthy for me to go into. So all of that is a part of when you hear me come and say, oh, we're doing the summer solstice, that jump and skipping, we're skipping, This is a serious war. The first person that was in the chat tonight, where is he? Where is he? Brian Battle. When I see his name pull up, I say, what? It's Leonard P. Howell we're celebrating. It sounds like it's a war. But yeah, I mean, this whole fight is a war. Education is a war. Some people slight education and have the nerves to say, oh, well, we talk too much, it's time for action. I agree. But I hope it ain't me you're talking to. I agree with you. We talk too much, but it is time, and it is time for action. But that statement, there's certain people, you don't tell them things. Me, for sure, you can't tell me that. Nobody in the world can look at me and have the nerve to tell me we talk too much and it's time for action. It's pure action I deal with. And my talk is action too. That's how you reach people. You think you get lips and teeth and tongue and mouth. To talk and explain what to do. So it's talking business, yeah, education. You understand? So some people talk too much. I totally agree. I'm with you 100%. And lack of action. But you can't point that gun barrel to me. Impossible. You'll shoot yourself. Be careful. Yeah, because some people have the nerve to try bring that to eye. Because maybe, people get scared when they hear words that are daggers to the heart. So they're trying to tell you, stop, oh, no, take it no more. So they have to say, oh, you talk too much. Fire. Yeah, so it's a war, my family. This is a war. And definitely we bring the war down to a level of commerce. So again, you could definitely be a part of this year's summer solstice virtual edition, even if you're not flying down, anytime soon. You could definitely purchase the package. As I said, it's only $100 for the full 3-day virtual package. You don't have to even say, hey, I have to go to work at that time. That time I'm going to be sleeping. It's all right. It's not going nowhere. Of course, it's the best thing to get it live, but it still will be there when you come home. So you know what to do. Contact me. Email priestisaac27@gmail.com. You'd have to email me. You can't say it to me here because I have to give you the key so you could enter into the virtual room when the time comes, and of course all your instructions. So you have to email me. Again, Priest Isaac, PRIESTISAAC. 2 A's, please, not 2 S's, not like the same way they spell it in the Bible. Priest Isaac 27@gmail.com. And for sure, we have, especially for those in the States, we have payment access using the not PayPal, what do you call that thing? The Cash App, Atonra 2723, ATONRA 2723. So you could definitely even contact me as it relates to that. Yes, my family. So as I said, still, even 1980, when I even learned Brother Howell passed on in 1980, that when I learned that originally, I said, but wait, all the time, man. Well, 1980, I was just very, very young, just learning to get around, walk and talk. But knowing Rastafari history, as I said, Leonard Howell was something absent in the Rastafari history, it seems like from the time they burned on Pinnacle. So you could see that there was a strong shock that he would have had to have received. Because remember, the great works that he did, but they dragged the man out, they arrest the man, they brutalize the man, they beat the man, they arrest the man, and if I'm not mistaken, he died in some hotel or something, So you could see that there was some after being brutalized so much, man, sometimes the spirit does really get shaken up. But us now who benefit from the works of these elders, because it's something I see now is a revolving door. We don't really practice that much respect for elders. We don't practice too much respect for those who have put their life on the line for us, Just like this rising this morning I was talking about, when the Messiah says, what greater love a person can have. There's no greater love that a person can have more than like when a person give his life for his brother, which is true. But you have to put that in context. Give your life for your brother don't necessarily mean you have to die for your brother. I think what I'm doing here right now, you see what I do now? I'm giving my life for my brothers. That's how I see it. Oh, pardon me, Facebook people and sisters right now. But it also means, like, for example, taking a bullet then. Like, pow, there's someone shooting at your brother or your sister, and you jump in the way and you take the bullet for your brother and sister. Now, that's a very noble thing to do. Very, very noble thing to do. Very noble thing to do. But I come to realize now, in this world, because that has happened several times. That's why Bob Marley says, how long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Because obviously it has happened several times that we could observe prophets, prophetesses, you don't have to be just killed alone. It could be asylum or whatever, or exile, I should say. Yeah. One thing I notice, as I said, we don't really respect those who stand up for us. Can I say, man, that jump in front of the bullet and get the bullet, Sometimes them people leave children behind. All of them great heroes we like to talk about, from Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, we talk some heroes. Some of them get taken out early, even before they reach 40. And they leave people behind. And we call the name and we don't even know nothing about anybody that they leave behind. Some of these people in the struggle that do it for the redemption of the people, didn't do it for gain, or do it for money, or do it for anything of the sort. You understand the meditation, but at the same time, after they have put down the tools, I'm going to bring it up again, Leonard P. Howell. Now we speak of him, people even argue, pretending they're defending Leonard P. Howell as first Rasta. Argue and want to pick up a stone and hit people for them conversation. But he was here up until 1980. And I could just imagine, I wasn't there, but I could just imagine, because again, it's a revolving door. And even as Rastafari, that is something we have to really look into. That's why I always big up the man, Bingi Flacco too. Anyone that take the time to put their effort into helping the elders. That's what you call doing and not talking. Yeah, that's what you call doing and not talking. Taking care of the elders within this tradition here, those that we know keep up this order. We know they keep it up. Sometimes we see them on a video, like Bongo Flacco would do a video with Bingi Isaac. In fact, I'm gonna say this, I don't think the Flacco gonna feel no way. But I asked Bingi Flacco if I could do an interview with Bongo Isaac, Elder Bongo Isaac, and he showed me, Bongo Isaac, them don't have a lot of them technology that I have, and Zoom and so and so and so. And I myself, I could have pressed it, and said, well, King, you can go and do it for me and set it up. But I didn't press it, but I will tell you what else maybe I would have done after that. But what I'm saying is that even when Bingy Flacco does his interview and so, we all glorify and say, yes, give thanks for the knowledge, Bongo Isaac. Give thanks for the knowledge, Elder Isaac. That not me, for those who do not know Elder Bingy, Bongo Isaac is an elder from a long time, high up there in age. The man was president 1958 when King Emmanuel get all them beatings there. But now the man up there in age. And Bingy Isaac is a very good soul. And I'm sure ones and ones might check for him. But what I'm saying now, as Rastafari, even those who look on and give praises, because I always warn ones when they're giving praises, careful with your praises giving. Be careful with your praises giving. You know what I mean? Because that is where the talking does come in too much and there's no action. Elders like Bingy Isaac, Elder Bongo Isaac there in Jamaica, the man shouldn't be going down in a rough way. Even I and I as members of the Congress, some of our elders, shouldn't be going down no matter what you may think. Them is the same one that crown you. Them is the same one that teach you this and teach you that you talk about and glorify. So that's something that we lacking in. I would agree we talk too much and don't do enough, especially on them levels there, as it comes to taking care of our elder ones going up in that age, having some kind of proper foundation. It don't have to be a building. It can be a system that governs internationally, because this is a different time that we are living in. But for me, myself, I could tell you that's something I think about, and that's something that I've tried to implement, and I still try to construct some way to implement it too. But there's so many things that needs to be implemented within just the liberation of our people. And it's not a one-man thing or even a 2 or a 3-man thing. Everyone have to put their hand to the plow to get this thing moving. And we need genuine hearts too. If you know you're genuine, come and do the work, man. Gotta have people in this thing that are genuine. I telling you. I ain't dig out nobody, but we need genuine people that really love people and care for people. You know what I mean? People that really want to see us move on. We can't just be here and giggle forever, Most of us, we have children. And if you don't, you will have. And them children gonna have children. They're supposed to still be talking the same talk you talking up to now. That he will never have no J in it. And this and that. And if Mary was really a virgin and we want to go home and all of them things and Black Lives Matter and I can't breathe, and they're still going to be talking them talk in the next 2-3 generations. I mean, our generation failed. Remember, we're the one that got enlightened. We're the one that saw the glory of the King. Even our mommy and grandmommy didn't see that properly. Even though some of it happened in their time, but it happened in our time too. So this is not a time to sleep, family. But you see our problem too? We don't like leadership. We're quick to jump up and say, oh, well, we don't need no leader. Everybody is their own leader now. That is so sad. I'm so glad I never pushed myself as nobody leader though. But I know I'm a leader for sure. But we not ready for none of that. No, we stone leaders. Because we want to stay in captivity and poverty and all them things. That's why ones have to go into the self for truth and lead yourself. That's why they get forced to do it. I've been forced to do that over the years. You know how much time man try to unite and work with people. To the point that man have to just step back sometimes and do it on your own. And them same people be calling you up. Oh, we can't see you. We can't see you. Imagine that. It's sad to say that you work better by yourself sometimes. Sad. Sad. But it's true. I can talk for myself. I work better by myself sometimes. But it can't work so all the time. Because unity is strength. It's not a one-man thing. Individualism is Satanism. Yeah. But anyway, family, wow. I didn't expect to stay that length of time. Glorify. Give thanks for your love. Give thanks for each and every one that has come in. And as I said, glorify the earth strong of Leonard P. Howell. Yes, I'm going to just seal up with a little More Naya Bingi here. Family, if you're going out, you could step out. No problem. I don't think I'll be continuing saying anything here. I'll be locking off the live in a moment. But I'll just take one more draw. Give you a little bingy sound. And looking forward to seeing you, man, as it relates to the summer solstice experience. Of course, remember those of you in Antigua, Sunday, we are gathering at the Ebenezer gas station at 3 p.m. Sunday, the 20th, this Sunday, those of you that are in Antigua, 3 p.m. Yeah, Rastafari. Give thanks, Holy Manuel, yes, my Lord. Yes, I just link I up soon. We can do it. Yes, family, blessed man. I can soon lock it up.